All right, so I am going live. This lighting is not working. Let's see if that helps at all. Didn't really help. But we're gonna go live. Today is Friday. We are doing our daily live. So let's make sure that everybody can hear me. Please let me know if you can hear me in the comments. I see that Instagram is live. Let me check on Facebook. Yes, Facebook. It seems like the lighting is the best on the Facebook. But we are going to go live, and today we're going to be talking in the same realm of tax debt. We're going to be talking strategies that you can deal with tax debt and back taxes. So, who am I? Brown. I am going live every day so I can give you some tax tips. I am the owner of the Savvy Accountant Firm, which is a full service CPA firm where we are at solving your tax issues. And so we want to talk all things that small business owners and individuals need to understand about taxes and how they can be better prepared, because my goal is to help you save $1 billion in tax savings. And what way to do that better than tackling some back taxes that you might have? So the first thing I want you to understand is that if you do have back taxes, the government gives you options when it comes to your back taxes. So sometimes people can have back taxes because they fell behind, they haven't paid, and all of these issues we talked about yesterday, some things that you need to be aware of when dealing with an audit. But you can have back taxes if you just file your tax return and then you got a payment that you had to pay, but you didn't have the funds to pay it. So that's one of the reasons, that's one of the ways that you get to have back taxes. And so the government does allow you different options that you can pay this off without you panicking. If you see a huge amount and you know that you don't have the cash on hand for the funds for you to pay it, the government allows you to pay that with payment plans. So it's not something like you guys don't have to see the balance and get panicked and think that there's nothing you can do, so you just ignore it. You can always pay down, get into an installment agreement with the government. And if your balance is under 50,000, you can probably get into an installment agreement pretty easily, and so you can do that and make it be a payment that you can actually afford, and so you don't have to stress about it. And that will mean that you are still compliant. So even though you have a balance that's outstanding and you're paying down on it, you are still compliant in the government's eyes. So it's not like you're going to be getting in trouble for not because you didn't pay the balance in full. So I want you guys to understand that you can deal with back taxes, tax debt in installment plans, and you're still compliant even though you are on a payment agreement. The next thing that I want to talk about is back taxes and why back taxes are costing you more money by just ignoring it. A lot of times people fall behind for various reasons, but falling behind and not filing your tax return for 1 year, then it gets to 2 years, and then it gets to 3 years. And a lot of times people think, well, I haven't heard anything from the government, so I'm probably good. That's not the case. You want to make sure that you're always compliant with the government. And so if you do have back taxes that you haven't filed, it's best to always catch up so that you can figure out what your payment plan needs to be and you can figure out how to get yourself compliant. So if you haven't filed the last 6 years of tax returns, then you're not considered compliant, and you want to make sure that you can get those tax returns filed so that you can figure out what you owe, so that you know how to what you're going to be dealing with, so you can figure out how to tackle it. Yesterday we talked about an audit and how to deal with an audit, and I talked about my book 10 ways to tackle your tax debt. And in that book, you are going to get ways on how to deal with the back payments. But today, I wanted to talk about that you can negotiate your payments. So if you do owe a large sum, there are some negotiations that you can use. And remember, yesterday we talked about 3 people being able to help you with your IRS issues, and that's an attorney, that's a CPA, and that's an EA. So if you're working with one of them, there are situations where if you owe a large amount, but your situation has changed from when you generated that large amount. So a scenario would be if you have a business and it's doing great for several years, and so you have tax debt that has accrued, but you get sick, the business closes, you now have no funds coming in because of whatever reason. And this is a completely made up scenario that I'm just trying to give you an example. You actually do have options where you can negotiate a reduced payment at a reduced balance that's going to be paid because of your current situation. So while your balance may have been built up over the years because you were in a fruitful season, remember that your situation currently is also going to dictate how much you can pay and how you're going to pay that amount. So there are ways that you can negotiate your balances in some situations. So you need to be working with one of those three people. So who is it? An attorney, a CPA, or an EA. Those are going to be the three people that can help you navigate this whole tax debt back taxes situation. The third thing I want to talk about is that there are definitely consequences for not paying. I think I've talked about that several times. The consequences of not paying is going to be that your interest and penalties are going to continue to accrue. So you want to make sure that you kind of make a plan to mitigate those, because one, taxes are the biggest expense you're most likely going to pay in your lifetime if you don't do something to mitigate that, if you don't have a plan in place to reduce the taxes as much as you can. So if you have a balance and you're ignoring it and not paying it, that's just going to mean that your balance is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. It's not going to actually go away. So you want to make sure that you understand the consequences of not paying, that the interest is going to accrue, that you have penalties that are going to accrue, and you want to make sure that you can tackle those. So the next thing is preventing future tax debt. So I've talked about this a little bit on several days, how we tell our clients to be ready for their tax bill. So when you're a small business and you have your sales happening, you want to make sure that you have an account for taxes so that when tax time comes and you have that tax bill, you have funds. I work with a lot of people in real estate, and real estate is cyclical. You have great times of the year, bad times, but typically when the tax bill comes, it's in a low time, so you don't have the funds on hand. And that's how a lot of my real estate people get into the bind, where they get a bill, they don't have the taxes on hand, so they have to wait for the next commission check. And so if every time you get that commission check, you put some of it aside, we call it the magical rule of 30. If you put 30% aside in that tax account, you're going to have the funds on hand so that you can reduce the actual increase that's going to be coming on that balance due. So those are just some of the ways that I think that you can mitigate and prevent future tax debt. Make sure you're filing your tax returns on time. Make sure that you have a plan so that you can pay your tax bill when it comes due, and just working with a professional to make sure that everything is in place so that you're not falling behind. And especially, here's something that I want you guys to understand. If you work with a professional, like an attorney, a CPA, or an EA, and they get you out of a tax situation, you need to make a plan to stay compliant for several years. What a lot of people don't understand is if you get out of a tax situation and the government says, okay, we do agree to this. I have no idea what that was. I don't know if you guys saw that, heard that, but that really scared me. So if you guys get into a situation, I don't know what that sound was, but if you get into a situation where they get you out of a scenario and the government agrees with it, they sign off on it, and if you fall back into old habits, the government can actually go back to that plan that was accepted and say, nope, we're not accepting this. So all of that hard work can be in vain, and you would end up owing more than you owed the first time. So make sure that you stay compliant. I want you guys to understand that compliance is very important. And I don't know why everything is falling apart right now, but compliance is very important, and it's going to make sure that you are not overpaying on your taxes. So because we are in our 12 days of Taxmas, today is day 5, and we are giving away 50% off our book. Our book is for our IRS tax penalties. And so this is a guide to help you remove tax penalties. And this actually has scripts in it. It has scripts that you can say when you call. It has templates for you to fax information in. And this actually, I sell this a lot to other tax pros so that they can help their clients. So if you want to DIY it and you can get your hands on it, the discount code for the 50% off is TaxMiss5. And if you were on our mailing list, you should get on our mailing list. You got this morning. So I already saw people purchasing it, but if you are listening to this live, you guys can send me a message and I'll send you the link for our 12 days of Taxmas. And so you can get all of those offers. So thank you for joining me for this Friday where we talked about how to deal with back taxes and tax debt and how to make sure that you're mitigating that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you guys for our next topic. And we will be back on Monday. And so I look forward to talking to you guys. And we'll be talking about business entity structures, which is one of my favorite topics. So look out for our daily tax topic on Monday. And I will look forward to it. See you guys soon. Bye.